be interested to know that. Anyway.
Yes, interesting to know all that.
Right, you are presenting ultrasound? Yes, comments?
In theaters.
Yes. All this was a spin-off from last week's class, the actinic, huh?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, an ultrasound in CA test is small talk regarding introduction. The scrotal lesion is present in many different ways, with the patient often locating a lump or experiencing non-localizing pain. These patients will be investigated through a combination of clinical examination and radiological assessment. Ultrasound is the imaging modality of choice and is exceptional in being able to rapidly establish the site of the scrotal lesion, either intra or extra-testicular, which is crucial with extra-testicular lesions in the adult population typically being benign. Despite the diagnostic challenge presented by intertesticular lesions, the combination of B mode and the color Doppler ultrasound commonly provides sufficient information to differentiate between benign and malignant disease. The resolution afforded by B mode imaging provides ultrasound with high sensitivity for the detection of testicular masses. Nonetheless, it is a detection of vascularity with color Doppler that helps to differentiate benign, that is invariably avascular, from malignant, increase in vascularity and changes in pattern of vascularity condition. A high-frequency transducer, 9 to 15 MHz, is usually used for the evaluation of the testis and scrotum, except in certain circumstances. Example, masculine hydrocele, where a lower megahertz is used. Testicles should be evaluated in both the long and short axis, and Doppler should be low wall filter and low pulse repetition frequency. So regarding the seminomatous GHD, the findings may be: a seminoma is usually homogeneous and of low reflectivity, which corresponds to the histological findings of uniform cells containing clear cytoplasm. They vary in size from small incidental nodules to large infiltrating masses, replacing the entire parenchyma. The majority display a well-defined margin and cystic elements are occasionally seen. Vascularity is usually readily visualized with colored Doppler, and where there is interest, malignancy is likely, although small tumors may not display color flow. So this is a picture of a small seminoma. It's a uniform, homogeneous and low reflectivity. This is a large lesion, again homogeneous seminomas. Non-seminomatous GCT. Ultrasound features reflect the diversity of the underlying cell type of non-seminomatous GCTs and tend to be much more heterogeneous in nature, with mixed reflectivity, areas of necrosis, hemorrhage and calcification. So this is a mixed reflective in non-seminomatous GCT. So it shows either cyst or areas of recent hemorrhage at small lattice cyst. This is a low reflective tumor. So turned out to be a Leydig cell tumor actually. So heterogeneous actually. Embryonal carcinoma, the mass appears heterogeneous with irregular borders. Hemorrhage and calcification commonly occur and are seen as echogenic foci within the lesion. Yolk sac tumor, again they are heterogeneous masses that can contain cystic areas and echogenic foci of hemorrhage. Teratoma is a large, well-defined complex mass that commonly contains cysts. Regions of calcification, cartilage and fibrosis appear echogenic and may demonstrate acoustic shadow. Similar to the other NSGCTs, but calcification may be a feature. So this is a picture of a teratoma where you can see the calcification issue. The arrows are calcification. Choriocarcinoma. These tumors are typically small size, but rapid growth may exceed the blood supply, resulting in a scar. Hemorrhagic necrosis is regularly seen, appearing as areas of mixed reflectivity. And the last mentioned, lymphoma, leukemia, and metastasis. So all these three entities may be indistinguishable on ultrasound from a primary testicular tumor. And regarding testicular microlithiasis, a relatively uncommon condition that represents the deposition of multiple tiny calcifications throughout both testes. The most common criterion for diagnosis is that of 5 microcalcifications in one testicle. All the definitions are varied in the past. In the majority of cases, testicular microlithia is bilateral. So it's seen in up to 0.6% of patients undergoing scrotal ultrasound. Some reports suggest that it may be present in up to 5.6% of the general population between 17 and 35 years of age. All the testicular microlithiasis is present in approximately 50% of men with the germ cell tumor. It is very common in patients without cancer, and a direct relationship between the two has been debated. So it is common in GCTs, but the finding of microlithiasis doesn't imply it's a malignant.
There may be an association. The important thing is many conditions are associated with something, and automatically people believe that that is what is always there. So this is causing that, not necessarily. That's very important because you will have patients who have microlithiasis but absolutely asymptomatic and nothing wrong with them. So that's what we were discussing last week. Yeah.
So testicular microlithiasis per se is asymptomatic and is usually found incidentally when the scrotal content is examined with ultrasound or found in association with symptomatic conditions. The microcalcifications are likely a marker of tubular degeneration but are not a risk factor for tubular degeneration. So the tubular degeneration may appear as microcalcification, but they are not the risk factor. Ultrasound is the modality of choice for examining the testis. Microlithiasis appears as small, non-shadowing hypertrophic foci, ranging in diameter from 1 to 3 mm, the starry sky appearance. These foci, often uniformly sized, occur within the testicular parenchyma and although usually distributed uniformly, may be distributed peripherally or segmentally. So this is the appearance of the testicular microlithiasis. So the European Society of Urogenital Radiology guidelines, so it's 3 types are there: limited testicular microlithiasis, classic and diffuse. Limited is less than 5 microcalcification per field of view. Classic is greater than or equal to 5 per field of view, and diffuse is numerous. The approximately 12-fold increased risk of GCT in symptomatic testicles with microlithiasis has been reported, with microlithiasis found in approximately 50% of GCT cases. However, no increased risk has been found in asymptomatic testicles. So, European Society of Urological Radiology advises annual ultrasound follow-up until age 55, only if a risk factor for malignancy is present, which include naltrexone, orchidopexic, testicular atrophy, that is volume under 12 cc, previous GCT, and family history of GCT. So, these are the conditions where finding of testicular microlithiasis should prompt surveillance action. Otherwise,
infertility. You forgot an infertility also. If there is infertility associated with testicular microlithiasis, that is significant. It requires. So when you have a situation like this, then you will require a biopsy. You will require a biopsy to confirm whether there is any tubular intraepithelial neoplasia. And then only you will proceed. I mean, everybody doesn't need to have biopsy done and treatment and all that. You can leave it.